more tomorrow night. Remind me to talk about that.
So, do you want to have a rally to restore sanity or a rally to restore God?
No, America Tomorrow is going to restore sanity.
Okay, but should you and I have a rally?
A rally?
Like outside the Museum of Tolerance.
I'm not the
like
rally
Torah
type.
True Judaism against tolerance.
You go
and
out
heretics.
There. I'll tell you what, you go...
We'll burn like Newton Slifkin in effigy.
You carry a sign around, I'll film you, because I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not that kind of person. Alright, what's going on?
What about a rally to restore morality?
You should definitely join the Haredim. Alright, so let's talk about the Torah portion.
Okay. So if God said to you, Rabbi Rabbs, I'm going to make you a great comic, would you just go, cool, like kick back and watch TV? Or would you go...
You didn't put the questions up in advance this week.
I know.
You failed.
I failed. I was
You
failed.
I didn't have a chance to prepare this.
Yeah.
If
so
God
says you're gonna make a great comic, I'm gonna make you a great comic, but like the years go by, no calls come in for gigs, no breaks happen. Like, would you like go, oh, I'm gonna have to like book myself into small clubs and build myself up? Or would you just sit back and go, God's going to take care of it, I wonder what's on, HBO? Because this is kind of similar to what faces the patriarchs and Jews throughout history. Like God says to Abraham, oh, I'm going to make of you a great nation, but then he gets older and older, he's not having any progeny, and Sarah says, oh, we have to do something, we have to bring in a concubine. So God tells you, I'm going to make of you a great comic. But the years go by, no gigs, no nothing.
It's a good question. I have never had a personal conversation with God.
I know,
right?
but...
If God came to me and said, Rabbs,
I'm going to make of you a great comic, and in you will all the families of the world be blessed.
You were going to be the shit. Right? And I'm like, okay, cool. My attitude would probably be, it's meant to happen.
And
right?
so you you wouldn't change.
I wouldn't do anything because it's meant to happen.
Yeah.
Which means he's going to throw, you know what I mean? It's going to come knocking at my door somehow. Right? No matter what I do, it's going to happen. So, you know what I'm saying? I'd probably do nothing. Which is the opposite of what happened because he didn't come and say that to me. Because he didn't say that to me, I went out and did all the footwork for him to go give the bracha, and he didn't give the bracha. So you see how it works? If you go and you do the work, he doesn't give you the bracha. If he says, go ahead and do it, you don't have to do the work necessarily. It's going to happen.
So, were you upset when your father didn't give you the bracha?
My father didn't give me the bracha?
You know, the one that Isaac gave to Jacob, like the big deal, the big bracha, the birthright.
Well, that was already done.
So, but I mean, would you I wouldn't lose 5 minutes of sleep if I didn't get the bracha.
All right. In this week's Parsha, the birthright is who's going to be the Jew. From which of these two sons is the Jewish nation going to emerge? Is it going to be Jacob or is it going to be Esau? And the one is going to be a Jew and the other one is going to be an Italian. Okay? And that's how it's going to go down. So this is huge. Do you want to be the father of the Jews, right? Or do you want to be the father of the Romans, right? This is where it's going to go down. This is not about I got a blessing. This is about having the Jewish people come from you.
So when one of those Sephardi rabbis comes in town, everyone lines up to get a bracha and pays $20, $30.
I don't.
Do you line up to get a bracha for Panasa?
No, I don't. I have nothing to do with that.
When was the last time you asked someone for a bracha? And I said a bracha, not something.
You mean from like a tzaddik or something?
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. That doesn't move me.
Yeah, I don't really care if you give me a bracha or not.
Yeah, I would rather have a bracha from you. No, because I say here's a guy who overcame all his crap, right? Yeah. And he wanted to be a Jew, and he put in Mesiras Nefesh and self-sacrifice, and there is a guy, and it says that God loves the gerim, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if a ger gave me a bracha, God is going to pay attention to that because this is a big guy, So I mean, I'd rather have a bracha from you.
Wow.
Yeah. How about that?
Wow, I'm humbled.
Yeah.
I remember I was at this Friday night dinner, and it was at a Chabad house, and like these homeless people came in, to get the pickings, and this homeless woman went around and she asked that each of us give her a bracha. So I mean, I gave her a bracha because I had to, but so there are no belief requirements, no belief statements in the Torah. Torah never says, "And you shall believe X, Y, Z." So Christians invented theology, Greeks invented philosophy, but Torah is like a guidebook to life. It's not a doxology, to use a Goyish term, which is like a system of things that you must believe. Like the Torah never says, and you must believe this. Torah takes God for granted. It never says, and you shall believe in God. Torah never says, and you shall believe that this Torah is divine.
Wait. What do you do every morning when you're davening?
You say belief statements. I'm talking about the 5 books of Moses. Never says, and you shall believe in God.
So how did you start this off by saying that the Torah doesn't? Because the Torah sure does talk about it.
Not the 5 books of Moses.
Right. Well, yeah, forgot. We're having Bible study tonight, folks. It's Bible study with Reverend Luke. Okay. So, yes, the Old Testament does not mention a required belief statement. Whereas our Christian Bibles, everybody take out your Christian Bible.
Filled with belief statements.
Filled with belief statements, right? What are we talking about here? We're talking about the Torah. Torah is Talmudic. Here we go again, right? The Judaism is a Talmudic religion, right? And the Talmud tells us that you absolutely must believe in God. In fact, the Rambam lists it as one of the 613 mitzvahs.
Right, but who commands it? Like, you have to believe in God to believe that belief in God is a mitzvah.
Read the Rambam on it. The Rambam listed as one of the 613, and it's actually a machloikas. It's an argument between. it's an argument amongst themselves.
Between the Rambam and the Rambam.
No, between the Rambam and the Rambam, because he talks about it in Sefer Mitzvahs, and then he talks about it in his Mishnah Torah. He actually has a different way of looking at it, but if you really get into it, you see that it's not a contradiction. But in Sefer Mitzvahs, he says you have to know God, and then the other one he says you have to believe in God, right? And then the question is, which one is it? And then one is like a stepping stone to the other. First you believe in God, like you said, and then the more you study, the more you know, and then you get to know God.
So God told Rivka the older son will serve the younger. So like right at the beginning, before we get these fancy schmancy stories about selling the birthright or Isaac blessing Yaakov, right at the beginning of that story when before Rivka even has kids, God tells her, the older son, the one who comes out of your womb first, will serve the younger. So like right there, it's all laid out. Rivka is barren, and Isaac prays for her, but like they don't like bring in, oh, let's get a concubine for you, or let's get a hot chick.
What's going on with these women are always can't conceive? What's that all about? Why is that?
I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know.
But
it's interesting.
See, Abraham and Sarah, like they started doing things. Like God says, I'm going to make of you a great people. And the years go by, they don't have any kids. So Abraham and Sarah, like they take action, and like they bring in Hagar, and maybe you meant to have a kid through Hagar, and but Isaac just prays. So I'm not saying one's better than the other, except if Jews had followed the we'll just pray rather than take action, I don't think there'd be any Jews left today. So, I mean, back in the Maccabees' time, when the Jews were attacked on Shabbat, some Maccabees said, oh, it's Shabbat, we can't defend ourselves. And they got massacred. So, I guess I got to say I may more favor the activist approach of an Abraham or a Sarah or a Rivka or a Yaakov, who's like, okay, we got to take action. It's not enough just like, oh, dear Lord, your promises aren't being fulfilled, please fulfill them. That's great, I got nothing against prayer. But if you're praying all day long and nothing's happening, maybe you need to go out and get a job or take action. So Isaac a little different than Abraham and Sarah and Yaakov and Rivka.